All right, we're back, everybody. How's it going?
Oh my god, Stuart.
How you doing, Sam?
It's been a day.
How's it?
A lot of meetings, a lot of talking to people, and you know what I'm doing? I'm talking to you now. So, talking doth not stop for any man, woman, or child.
It's true.
That's okay. How about
Yes.
you? How's your day been? 'Cause I didn't see you this morning. No, we didn't film today.
Oh,
Yes, I had
tomorrow
to
morning.
think about it.
Oh, today I cut the lawn, did the dishes, did some laundry, cleaned up the house a bit, filmed a few things for the Captain Foley personal. I've been busy today. And I'm busy all the rest of this week.
Mm-hmm.
Got Slive now. Tonight I got my first reaction for
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to have a special guest. My buddy Ryan's joining me for that.
Oh.
And then tomorrow we film, and tomorrow I have my first reaction to the lower decks, and then Friday we do our live breakdown. Plus, I got to set up the captain's chair for London Comic Con. And then all weekend I'll be busy. I'm not gonna have time to slow down until Monday. So,
Yep.
not looking forward to the rest of this week.
Well,
But
that
that's okay.
sounds delightful. Good luck.
But I'll still be here for you guys for all the lives we do.
Yes. Because you want to know the secrets that we know.
Yes. All right. How are you doing? I know you've been busy with calls and stuff and
Yeah,
things.
like I said, just a lot of talking day,
Uh,
and more right after this as well. And obviously, when you have hours of talking, you don't really do much besides that. So the workload doesn't necessarily change because obviously you're over here, you're not doing the work. Luckily, I've had some rendering after the midday meeting. They approved some stuff, so I did some stuff rendering. But then,
nice.
you know, there's a
Oh,
lot of
today,
render
guys.
layers.
Today, guys, we have a bit of a split live. We're going to do the
Mm-hmm.
first part talking about the very short trek, the first one. We know the second one came out. We've already seen it. We'll talk about that in another discussion. But if you have any questions and want to super chat in about that, you can please do so. And in the second half of this live, we're going to talk about some Easter eggs that we've already seen in Lower Deck Season 4.
Yes,
And yeah, so hopefully you'll enjoy that.
indeed. Yeah, I did not expect the second one to come out. I don't know when I thought it might come out, but I entirely was like, oh, hello. Um, so it just feels odd to review the first and the second just came out, but that wasn't in our show notes, as it were. It feels like that one just came out. But, if you have questions, maybe we can talk about it briefly, but if you have impassioned thoughts about it,
Yeah.
if not, that's
So,
absolutely fine. And yeah, Easter eggs, a lot of them we talked about during our lives, but it's nice to be able to celebrate what Lower Decks does well, because we do appreciate their vibe. I mean, it's the only it was the lowest budget show, so they could put the most time into drawing new things, which is wonderful. And they won't just keep reusing assets. They make new stuff constantly. Not like it's not a complaint per se, right? But like Stranger Worlds, that big refinery is just a space dock with some stuff added, all the ships around it, just kit bash ships, right? So it's fine. Just Low Decks doesn't really do that normally, so that's okay.
yeah. Fleet Paw Swiftback, though, is here. He throws in $2. Never fear. Fleet Paw is here, live for my coach bus. Yeah, he can only stick around for a little bit because then he's got to get back to work. But we appreciate him showing up. We generally don't have moderators on these 4 p.m. lives lately. But good to see you, sir.
Yes, glory to your house.
Everybody's pretty well behaved during these 4 p.m. lives. We can kind of manage it on our own. But yeah, good to see you. All right. Did you want to share this around, sir?
Doing a poll.
He's doing a poll. Speaking of, we have 31 people watching, which is awesome, and 13 likes. It's like the likes are mirrored for my number of viewers. So hit that like button if you haven't already. I want to get up to at least 50. I'm going to say 20, but that's only 7 likes. I'm sure we can get there, no problem. Hit that like button if you haven't. Now is your chance to help out the channel by hitting like. It's a simple, easy way to do things and helps us out immensely.
Hi, Raj.
So please do. The new poll is up. Which very short trek do you prefer? Episode 1, Not Kirk and Peck Spock. Episode 2, a Spocky's blooper. A Spocky blooper. Hey.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, yeah.
Huh? What's that, Sonny? Here? That's
Yeah.
what I was going for. Now I can share.
Okay, go for it.
Seriously.
This is my second opportunity to tell you guys to hit that like button and join us if you want to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you click the notification bell icon so you're missing uploads or lives that we do. We do a lot of content. We do a lot of lives. We love you guys. We love hanging out with you. And we want you guys to be a part of the community. So please subscribe. Also click that join button. You can be part of each and every video by clicking the join button and be part of the crew, the fleet, the Trekyards fleet. We got some really cool ships and some really cool assignments and ranks for you guys, and the Discord server as well. So the join button down below, or going over to Patreon/Trekyards. That is another way to support us on a monthly basis. Same ranks, privileges, and all that apply over there as well. And we really appreciate all the support you guys can give on a monthly basis. If you can do that, we really would appreciate it. So, but yeah, hitting like, super chatting, those are the main ways during these lives. So please do so. I'd really appreciate it. And I know Sam would too. I know you can't hear me right now. We can talk shit about him. Anyhow, yeah, or click the links down below. There are links to the Teespring and the TeePublic store. We got some really cool Trekyards merch. We love seeing you guys wear at conventions and stuff, and a lot of you have done so, and we really appreciate that. So keep it up. Go check out the Trekyards store on TeePublic, or just head over to Teesprings. Both links are down below. They both have different kinds of merchandise, but grabbing yourself some cool stuff, we'd really appreciate that. And you could benefit from it too, because you get cool Trekyards merchandise. Is Trekyards something you want merchandise from? I don't know, but hopefully. So please go do so. And we'll get right into this discussion soon. Like I said, we're talking about the first very short trek today, which is called Skin a Cat. And then the second half of the live, we're going to talk about the things that Lower Decks does well, plus Easter eggs and things that we've seen in season 4 already. We've only had 2 episodes. Got another one on the way tonight. So we're getting there. We're getting there. There's a few things that we might want to talk about during this live about Easter eggs and such. So by all means, click the links, do all the things, and join us. And like I said, super chat. We want to hear your thoughts on this very short trek, as well as any Easter eggs or cool things in season 4 of Lower Decks that has already stood out to you. Please let us know. I don't know what's taking Sam so long to share this video. I usually don't talk near this amount, so I think he's got other things happening. But thank you for Fleetpaw for sharing all the links. Yeah, Fleetpaw is the XO on the NX01. Join his crew. Yes. Orgot6 says, I dropped my like before even starting, laughing my ass off. I'm never disappointed. Like it off the bat. Thank you so much. I saw you were in St. Ratford, or Stratford as it's commonly known. I grew up pretty much in Stratford, or well, nearby, but I consider Stratford like my hometown kind of thing. If you're talking about Stratford, Ontario, that is. Fun fact, it's meth capital of Canada. But anyway, it's a nice tourist city, so hopefully you had a good time in Stratford.
Howdy.
Okay.
I have returned. Did you miss me? Is there?
We hit our. Oh. No, we didn't. I was talking over you. We hit our 20 like goal. We're still going for that 51, guys. Hit 50 likes. Do it. Hit the like button.
Oh dear.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Now we love you. You're back. Now you can
that's good. That's okay.
Oh, and just so people know, apparently the very short treks come out on a Wednesday. Says Matthew DeFritas. They come out every Wednesday. Was the last one on last Wednesday? It seems rather far away.
Mm-hmm.
But it's on StarTrek.com, in case anybody didn't know. Just on YouTube.
That does seem very far away. I mean, maybe we got so taken up with Lower Decks, but I don't think we did.
A lot of Voyager content and stuff. I don't know. It could have kind of slipped by us a little bit.
I feel like I watched it around.
Who knows?
I don't know. So, Stuart, remind our tremendous audience then, what do you think of the Very Short Treks episode 1?
I thought it was pretty funny. I rather enjoyed it. I hated the fact that it wasn't Kirk, though. Whether it be Paul Wesley voicing Kirk or not. The guy doesn't even look like Kirk. So it's just some random captain at the Enterprise, I guess. But Ethan Peck was there. We got Emrys. We got. I mean, it starts. You see Lieutenant Eric's and Scotty as well at the very like first couple seconds of the episode. Um, but I thought it was funny. Figure of speech. I think it should have been called instead of skin a cat. But hey, and I thought it was great that everybody was getting offended by just the things, the colloquialisms that people say. I thought it was fun. I rather enjoyed it. And the screw-headed guy and stuff. It was great to see some cool new aliens, I guess. A butthead, literally. Uh, I thought it was funny. I thought it was a nice departure. And it's not very long, so it's not like you have to really suffer too long if you don't enjoy it. But I enjoyed it, so it's fine. There you go. How about you? What did you think of the very first very short treks?
Well, it feels better in comparison. Feels better in comparison to the second one now. I like it more now.
Yeah, the second one's. Yeah, the second one's quite a bit longer. It's like 4 minutes, 4 minutes and something. But we'll talk about that at some point.
So I like it more now because now I've seen how the formula can be even sillier and less to my liking, etc. This, however, was the conceit, the joke is something that you'd probably find just in the world. There are sayings between races and cultures, and of course between alien cultures that people don't like, whatever. So you have to navigate that anyway. But then you take it to the extreme and make it sort of an issue, but in your face, as they often say, Trek does with social issues. Well, that's a social issue done in the Trek realm. If everyone takes everything as an offensive thing, then you can't run anything. You can't even structurally run society because it just doesn't work, right? So, social issues with humour. Odd not Kirk. And given we just saw episode 2, which had a giant voice cast from all Strange New Worlds, they clearly had the entire cast on contract. Like, they did what we often say. They could just have grabbed them off set. Because they certainly didn't, get Uhura for her, 4 lines. They didn't go into a custom studio to do that, right? It was presumably on the set of the Stranger Worlds. So not getting Paul Wesley seems odd now for episode 1, right? I thought Ethan Peck was in 1 episode. I had no idea he was in 2, right? So I don't know why they wouldn't have. But then again, he's not Kirk. So if he was Kirk, the whole thing would play more weird because Kirk's not insecure like that, right? He would just say he would comment on it in an entirely different way. You couldn't have that short if that was Kirk. He wouldn't approach like that. So they had to make a non-Kirk, just generic captain, to just have it be silly because Kirk wouldn't deal with it like that. Certainly Picard wouldn't. He wouldn't let that sort of nonsense fly.
Well, he sits like Kirk and stuff. It's kind of weird, and he's a captain. It's not like he's a temporary captain. I mean, maybe, but again, not canon.
It very much
matter,
not
canon.
Right?
Because Enterprise gets destroyed at the end of that one.
Yeah, it's literally a doesn't matter. He's some guy, which is a weird place to be.
It's one of the very numerous multiverses, I guess. There you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Hypnoamber. You can see it on StarTrek.com. It's just on. Well, it's also on YouTube. Just type in "very short Trek" on YouTube. You'll find it.
It's the only thing that's not been region locked.
If you want to go watch them,
basically, which is kind of shocking, really.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, yeah, I rather enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. Some really crazy characters, though. The Knickers lady and Screw guy, Butthead. Even the fish guy from TNG was there. Although I don't think they joined the Federation at that point. Oh, that's right. It's a multiverse. Doesn't matter. Not canon.
Yeah, they all die at the end, Stuart, so it's not canon. But the fact that it feels right out of animated series, I mean, I don't know how hard it was to replicate the style, but I mean, they felt right out of it. And even I did my screen cap pass for the episode edited review today, and there's so few angles relative. Like, they repeat so many things, which makes it feel cheap when you do it like that. You don't notice in the moment, but I noticed it after the fact. And also, now I've seen the second one, of course. It's interesting how they made this Spock look like Spock, Nimoy, and the other like Peck. So that was a distinct choice.
Yeah. Well, Matthew DeFreitas makes a good point, and it's the same thing I kind of thought. He throws in $2 for a super chat and says, "I think Shat didn't approve his likeness for this." Could be. He was very absent from the Star Trek Day poster both last year and this year. And he's like the captain for Star Trek, honestly. So just seems odd.
Well,
but
yeah. Shatner gave infinite use of his likeness in the 90s, so that he doesn't have to prove anything. So did Nimoy. That's why they can use his stuff.
That's also true.
So no, they never have to ask him for anything. Patrick does. That's why his likeness isn't on anything. They always use that very, very poorly non-Patrick Stewart. That's why like X06 is a terrible Picard sculpt because he doesn't give permission. Like they didn't obviously ask him. Whereas like Brent Spiner is very close. St. Commander Green is very close because they obviously ask and they're more willing to give. I guess they didn't want to ask Patrick, and Patrick will say no, right? Because always very expensive because that's part of it, right? You can make him look, because if you make him look like Picard but not Patrick, it's a different process. But no, they own Shatner. Yeah. But as we said, that can't be Kirk's character. He's not playing Kirk. So, like, yeah.
And Fleet Pod makes another great point. What if this is the Kobayashi Maru? Well, it certainly looks like it's starting that way with all the Klingon ships surrounding the Enterprise. So it could be the TOS Kobayashi Maru test for another captain. Sure, I'll buy that. See the view screen like split apart at the end, and Kirk actually walks in. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would have been a fun double reveal. Actually, would have been super fun if that had been it. And then they blow up, and then it goes black. The door opens, and Kirk walks out. Well, Mr. Benjamin, you failed the Maru. Oh, I'm sorry, Captain Kirk. Like, that could have been really nice. And imagine if that had been Shatner. For like, he came back for this after 20 years. That would have been very fun, actually. Yeah, that would have been clever.
Yeah, well, the other thing, the alternate that we kind of thought of too is every time he said one of the figures of speech, if you heard like a Q flash, didn't see it, but you heard the sound effect for a Q flash, and these people just showed up because it was just quite interesting that people that he didn't even know were supposed to be on the bridge were there. So something like that could have added to it as well, I think. But yeah. Oh my goodness. And the lady at the end. I like the lady at the end. Too bad she dies.
And that would have been.
She loves game shows, so that's fine.
And that would have certainly be another caveat, because obviously when they say it's not canon from the start, all gloves are off, right? So that's what JJ could have been, or Discovery could have been, right? It lets you play versus, because we can give any infinite letting them off. But if they had Q come in and snap and have Delancey be kind of like the in Marvel's What If, there's a wraparound story with Guardian like that.
The Watcher.
Yeah, like if that had been Q and he said, yes, audience, look, the multiverse is alive and started. See an idiot captain and his look for love. Like, you could have done that, but then it would have been actually linking to canon, and then you had those problems.
They should have done it, each one narrated by him or something. That would have been kind of neat.
Yeah.
But David Thompson says, does this have Eric's? Yes, Lieutenant Eric's is in that first one for like the first couple seconds. You see him and Scotty on the bridge. Mm-hmm. So yes, Lieutenant Eric's is in it. Anyway, that's it. That's all there is to talk about. I like the water regulation station on the bridge, though. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean, and the sort of D7's actually a bit different in designer fun. The Enterprise looks good. I mean, it's super faithful to the art style of animated series. I laughed at the water joke. I thought that's genuinely quite funny because it makes no sense. Because at that point, you're with them. The escalation of insanity, you get it, right?
Yeah. And to be fair, there is an environmental station on the bridge which handles life support, air circulation, all that stuff. So you just add water to that. It's fine.
But you can tell where they're sat. They're a console on the banister.
Yeah.
Which is fun then, because of course he's being surprised that everyone's offended, but people are literally appearing in front of them is nonsensical way, right? So of course there's an illogicalness to the situation, and of course there wouldn't be a panties faced alien or whatever.
And Dave Moon says it made me want to do a rewatch of animated series now. Well, that's the point. It is the anniversary of the animated series. That's why they've done these. A lot of people aren't even aware that the animated series is a thing still to this day, which surprises me. But yeah, I definitely got want to go back and rewatch the animated series now as a result of, because of this. So yeah, the second one's not so much. It's still in the same style, but you got the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, you got the
Hmm.
Strange New Worlds characters,
Hmm.
you got the Discovery, you got a whole bunch of other stuff in the second one, which is quite interesting to see in an animated style. But this one was truly just even the framing,
Hmm.
the way they did the animation, everything was so spot on for the animated series. It was kind of fun.
Well, it makes sense. They're going through time, right? They're starting with the classic, and the fact that we can then see all the other eras converted through that lens is really fun, and certainly a playground of screen caps. You
Hmm.
get to actually have and show and the what ifs. Obviously, I'm hoping the Voyager, or at least the Neelix one, is a heavy Voyager one, so you get to see Voyager and some of the sets, and let's see how far
Hmm.
they can go, right?
Hmm. And I think these guys are the ones that did the animated TNG and animated Voyager that we
Well, that was
got
made
like
by one guy.
a few months ago. Was it? I don't know if
That
it
was
was
a
or
guy
not.
fan, yeah. That was an Indian American fan person. Hmm.
Well, he did a fantastic job. It was great. It was a great kind of precursor to these, even though we didn't know it yet. So
Yeah.
those were fun, actually. And Ozzy and Dave both saw them back in the 70s. Oof. Wow. Yeah, I would have been like 5. I probably saw them with my brothers, but like I said, I had some of the VHS tapes that I got at conventions, and I had like 2 episodes on each tape. So I had like 3 tapes. I didn't even have the whole series until they came out on DVD. So I didn't see them all until much later in life. But I was aware it existed.
Oh, there aren't any credits on these, so he doesn't say who made them. That's not very good. Hmm.
Well, that's odd.
Because Gazelle Automations is the group that made the animated ones, TNG and Voyager, which actually, now I'm looking at them, look actually more faithful. This is too shiny,
Hmm.
as weird as that is.
Hmm.
Hmm. But they have
I
made.
still like the title card though. The title card with the planet, and it was shifting around the screen.
Yeah.
Like small little details like that you might not notice right away, but your brain notices them, right? So,
But your brain does. Yeah, the
yeah,
other
and I
one.
use so many figures of speech during our Trekyards that I'd be in trouble here.
Also, the first one came out on
This,
Friday,
this,
so just double checked.
yeah. Well, apparently it's going to be Wednesdays going forward,
Yeah.
Matthew. So that's great.
See, that makes more sense. Oh, there's only 5 of them? I thought there was more than 5. Oh, wow, okay. Only 5. Huh.
Well, that's disappointing.
I thought it was 8. I guess not.
Oh well.
Well, if you pay for the entire Stranger Worlds cast to be in one, I mean, bit of use of budget, wasn't it? But yeah, thought it was funny. Thought it was silly. I mean, it's a social issue taking a silly thing that's this is if you're back in animated series, which you are. Aether Pet did a fine
Yeah,
Spock as well. You know.
yeah. Love that it's no offense was intended, yet everybody gets offended. And then he's to the
Mm.
point where he's just like, I don't know what to do. Wait a minute.
Hmm.
And he goes on this whole tirade of this perfect woman for him. I thought it was kind of fun.
And actually, it's almost weirder. It's actually almost weirder the reverse. I said in our other review that the fact that TOS will address this, right? Um, Abraham Lincoln comes on the bridge and says the N word, and her's like, doesn't even blink. And then she comments, "Oh, that's not offensive because we're past that. These words have no
Yeah.
power." So it's almost a reverse commentary on social, saying, "Why is a Starfleet crew all offended by non-offensive things?" That's more the question. These
Mhm.
sayings aren't offensive, so why are they being overly sensitive? That's a problem in the training of Starfleet officers, right? Because how can you work in a group, especially if each society has different sayings?
Yeah.
You can't
Well,
function that way, just taking offense at non-offensive things
yeah.
as a community.
Well, the first one was the funniest, though. There's only one way to skin a cat, Mr. Spock. Of course, MRES was like, "What? You guys skin cats?" That was kind of funny. But yeah, then it got more just ridiculous as it went along. So just pointing out how ridiculous it can be to be offended by certain things when they're not intended. Like I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. It was a good social commentary kind of vibe.
Also,
So
she's not a cat. Like she's a feline, full sentient species.
she's a Cation.
Yeah, she knows that's not meaning her because she's not a cat.
But if she relates to Earth cats, like I really like your Earth cats. They're really nice. And then you find out they used
But
to
would she
skin
though?
them.
It's like if we found an alien planet
Yes, with little people pets, that'd be awesome.
that
I'd want
don't
one.
speak and
Yeah, I think it'd be cute.
okay, I'm not really a pet person anyway, but I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't, you know. It's like, no. Anyway, but yeah, and poor Enterprise at the end,
Boom,
but it doesn't
baby.
matter either, so it's fine. All right, there's part one, guys. No longer gonna talk about this, so moving on.
Yes. Unless you got super chat in. If you want to talk about the second one or the first one, super chat in. We'll talk about any super chats. We do read them all out and we do address them all. So please consider doing so. And hit that like button. We're at 33 likes. We want to get to 50. I think we can do it. Hit that like button.
As you know, Stuart, this channel is run by super chats, so support this channel if you can. That's how we
super
keep
chat
on
and memberships.
keep on going.
Yes.
All right. What's next then, Stuart? So we're done with this topic.
Fleet Paw says, oh, $2. Thank you. Time to go. Later, gents. See you later, Fleet Paw. Good. Thank you for joining us for the first half of this live.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. All right. So second part, we're going to be talking about Lower Decks season 4, how they do things right all the time, and the Easter eggs that we might want to talk about and discuss from these first 2 episodes that we've gotten so far. They always do fantastic Easter eggs and small little details in Lower Decks. So we like to point them out and talk about them. So there you go. We're moving on to that now.
So you've got 6, I've got lots. I just found everything in sort of time order. Just skimmed through both episodes and just found everything.
Well, I didn't do the Voyager stuff because I figured they'd all be in yours. Like, I just picked the stuff you might not have got.
Yeah, didn't specifically. Well, more general stuff. But yeah, I just went from episode 1 to.
Oh, okay. I didn't do that.
Oh,
I figured episode 1 has so many that there'll be stuff available from them from what you had. So
yes, makes sense. Well, let's jump through yours first, then, Stuart.
Oh, we're just gonna do it that way. Okay.
Sure. Because I'm gonna do all mine separately, so just talk about yours and we'll talk on to mine.
Okay. Sure. Well, mine, the first one, I just named them all. So the action figures. We do see action figures that Boimler has. We got a mention of Mirror Archer. We got a Spock, Wrath of Khan, and we got, you said it was Data in like First Contact carrying a phaser rifle. Kind of unclear who it was necessarily, but I love the addition of the action figures and the fact he's already met Spock in real life. I think means even more for him to have a Spock figure. He probably had it beforehand, which is the ironic thing. But yes, the action figures were a really nice touch.
Oh, that would have been triply meta if they'd had if he put the Wrath of Khan Spock looking like Nimoy and then he put up the Peck Spock looking like Peck.
Yeah, that would have been kind of cool.
Because they haven't got the same face, so you could absolutely spot them between each other.
Yeah, the thing with the faces is interesting because later we see, later we even see the poster of number 1, and the face is always hidden. It's like they almost like don't have the rights to show it on Lower Decks or something. I don't know. I don't understand, but the face was hidden on it.
Because that I would assume licensing. Because she's not given her. I mean, she's a bigger actress than Shatner was at the time. She has way more bargaining power, and to really want to, because that was in a Strange Worlds episode, of course. So they have the rights to her likeness because it's in the episode. They haven't got the rights here per se. And that is what a cheat though to not show likenesses of Archer, because they own Archer, they don't own Bakula. So if you don't put a face on it, there you go.
But the hairstyle that they chose though is very much Archer. Like when you see it from the front, it definitely looks like the Mirror Archer. So
with his really military sort of buzz cut thing, which is I remember seeing it for the first time, like wow, that is a stern vibe, Scott. Goodness.
You know who had the best hair in that episode though? Was Mayweather.
Yes, he did.
He had that like widow's peak. It just looked friggin' amazing. It looked badass. I wish he would have looked like that the whole series.
Yeah, he had an amazing non-speaking performance.
Yeah,
like the amount of something he gave to that role was rather good. Yeah. I mean, it was the best episode of Enterprise, right? In my opinion, overall, phenomenal. which is sad because they're not Enterprise. They're Mirror Enterprise.
Yeah.
But everyone's, I guess,
All
more
right.
interesting in the Mirror universe.
My next one you
But no,
probably
we gotta
have
finish
as
the poll
well.
though, because obviously this is no longer part of the thing. So this is shocking. Which very short did you prefer? Split vote. 51% episode 2, 49 episode 1. Gosh, Stuart.
It's only 37 votes, though. It's basically 50-50 the whole time. So,
Yes.
oof,
Yes.
interesting. All right, so he's going to do a new poll. I'm going to remind you guys again to hit that like button if you haven't. You need another 12 likes to get to 50. We definitely want to get to 50, so please hit that like. I'm also going to take this time to remind everybody that I'm doing a first reaction video tonight, live, talking about Ahsoka, both episode 4 and 5, because I didn't do a first reaction last week because I had a sleep study thing I had to go to, so and I couldn't fit it in any other time. It just seemed kind of weird to do so. So we'll be doing that tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in for that if you're an Ahsoka fan, or if you actually missed me not having a first reaction last week. Yeah, 40 viewers, it's pretty good. But guys, if you want to super chat in and talk about anything specifically you noticed in Lower Decks Season 4 so far that you'd like us to discuss, please do so. This is your chance to engage and help out the channel with the super chats. We really appreciate it. And the new poll is up. Which show does Easter eggs better? Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, Discovery, or Prodigy? That's a very good poll. I like that one. Good choice, Daniel.
Appreciate it.
Let's move on to my second one, which is the Aldebaran snake, which is the snake we see Q turn into in Hide and Q. It is not encountered at Farpoint. We both thought it was, but we checked it out. It is actually in Hide and Q, and it's basically a glowing or luminous orb with 3 cobra heads. It was a nice little touch to add in there. A lot of people thought it was Q's true appearance or something. It's not. It's got its own name. It's an Aldebaran snake. So.
I have joked that before as well, because kind of the way it's presented is so alien. It feels like I would have accepted that because it's an abstraction of a weirdness. It would work for me, right?
Yeah. So yeah, just having that in the menagerie was a nice touch.
But still no Telosians.
No.
What a shame.
But speaking of the menagerie, goes to my next one. There is a SETI eel in the lower right corner that we see for a second. Of course, that is from Wrath of Khan. That was Khan's pet. So nice little desert terrarium there with a little SETI eel in it. And this one also has something that resembles a glommer, which is a tribble-eater. It's in this middle tube on the left there. It's similar in design. I don't think it's supposed to be a tribble-eater or a glommer, but it harkens that thought in your head. So, yeah. Nice touch.
Interesting. And guys, this will be quite a quick live if you don't put your thoughts in. Thoughts and comments. It's part of how we run these lives, so put your thoughts in. Cool?
Yes. All right, so my next one after the SETI eel is actually the DS9 model that Rutherford has in his little box of goodies, because he bought that in season 3. Season 3. Season 3. When they went to the bar that Kirk and Spock used to go to, he bought the DS9
Oh, did they?
model.
Well, they bought DS9 at DS9.
I don't think so.
Oh, that was season 2 then. Oh, okay.
It might have been the DS9 episode, but I'm not. I know that the models were on sale in Quarks, but I think he bought it.
Actually, I think you're right. I think that was us remembering those models.
Yes.
From earlier.
Exactly. Yes. And he was pointing out that they got a new DS9 model and had like a little Defiant and stuff in it. It's a nice little touch there, and of course all the other little goodies in the boxes, like the Constellation class. There was a Cerritos model as well. Boimler's plates. He's got the Tom Paris plate. There was also I can't remember the other plate. Actually, I forgot to get a picture of it.
It was a Cerritos plate.
Cerritos plate. And then his Klingon attire for when they played their Klingon role-playing game. Lots of nice little things. And then, the Happy Captain Day or whatever banner.
Captain Freeman Day, probably. Because she's
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
captain. It's okay. It's not Picard specific. It's
Which,
captains.
yeah,
You have to be the captain.
which kind of leads to my next one, which is poster and action figures. And there we see the joined Starfleet at Astra, per Ast, or whatever, per Aspera. Again, see, you can't see number one's face there. His shirt's hanging up in front of it.
Saved in
And it also
30K.
includes, yeah, yeah. And it also includes the other action figure as well as the other two from the front. So I just love that he collects action figures. It's just kind of a cool thing. You wouldn't think somebody in the future would do for Starfleet, like Legends. Just kind of neat.
Yeah, but given how much we collect things, doesn't that seem actually super? Of course they would.
Yeah.
Because there's a a Red Dwarf episode where they have old figures from the Napoleon War, and actually from like the 1800s, it was carved out of wood, and it's these have been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. Gosh, obviously, if you want to be more literal, that's what marble statues are, right? And Dad has got brass ones, so yeah, these have been around for thousands of years, making statues of people. That's been a trope of humanity. So why wouldn't you want to collect those things later on? It feels obviously too referential in a sense, especially as using the famous ones. But the famous ones are famous for a reason, right? Spock is a galaxy famous person, as is Data, as is Archer, especially in his mirror form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be fair, in the future they could have like little holographic things, like the Tasha Yar kind of memorial thing. You could have like that and have like different action poses. You could have like the phaser up, running, standing still. And even these figures, maybe they don't have a face because there's like a holographic option. You can like push a button.
Season 1, Season 3, Season 5.
And you can change the facial expressions of your action figures on there. That'd be kind of neat as well. So,
I agree with you in concept, but I feel like, I'm sure they exist as a generality, but there's a reason why Picard likes books. People like the real. Why on earth would you have a banner made of plastic or whatever, right? Or paper? You'd have a hollow banner and it'd be much better. But yet something about the tangible old school has been valued. Clearly that poster of Una is a paper poster, right? It's a fabric. It's not a special sci-fi. It's not an LCARS poster, right? It's a poster. You wrap it up and you. So I can imagine these collectible figures are real because there's a collectability to that, especially if replicated things are mass produced. Can you imagine if these were handmade at a sort of a Rogelian factory?
mm-hmm.
Real made, the cloth's actually,
They're Exo 6 figures.
There we go. Well, Exo maybe like 344417616, future ones. Exo 2386. There we go. Because then, imagine if they've sourced real fabric of uniforms, and therefore if you're not Starfleet, to get real fabric, because replicators take a lot of whatever.
And you could actually replicate the fabric to be the exact same, but on the right scale, so it doesn't seem out of scale to the figure.
That's what I'm saying.
You could make them.
If it's not replicated, then it's maybe the imperfections what makes it perfect.
Mm-hmm. For certain collectors, yeah.
Knowing it was hand assembled by talented artisans, and then then imagine putting the replicated one next to it and being like, which one do you like better? It's like, oh, this has got a scuff. The one with a scuff. Why? Because it's not replicated. It's like, okay. That's almost like that chip in the left right corner. That's what makes it unique, right? Whereas replication is by definition a 1 out of a billion. I remember. Well, actually, no, different reference. I recently got an action figure. Well, I'll show you. You saw it, Stuart, but I got not action figures. I got this collector set Doctor Who piece from the 5 Doctors and limited. And there was like 6 in the store. Dalek is all good, but the first Doctor character, fine head sculpt, but the first one I looked at had a giant black smudge on his face where the paint was wrong.
Yeah.
So in theory, that's a collector's piece, right? Because it's imperfect.
It's about desirability, though. No one wants it with a scuff on his face.
Yeah, I didn't want it because it just looked like it looked nicer. But the fact there was an incorrect one therefore became. I know for Yu-Gi-Oh cards, they've mass produced 5.6 million of the card. There's one that's been printed twice on the same side. That's like
Mm-hmm.
hyper rare because that especially, and I heard this from one of the collector stories, they actually try and find them in the factory and destroy them because it's a bad reputation building. So they had to both be misprinted, which is a 1 in a million chance,
And
then
make it through quality control.
and
Yeah.
then get basically smuggled out, right?
Yeah.
That's the double rarity. It's so rare they actively try and destroy it. Well, it's like if you've got an original VHS copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special, right? That's pretty rare.
Considering they weren't made, yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, like from the offices, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyway, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
My last one.
Mm-hmm.
Besides all the Voyager stuff, which we'll
Just
get to in a
Voyager.
second. Yeah, is the Tucker tubes
Mhm.
making a reappearance? Not only a reappearance, but getting named
Mm-hmm.
and also getting improved upon to become the Billups tubes. So it was a nice kind of triple coolness. But now we can always call them Tucker tubes in the future because we always used to just call them the lights that went back and forth. We never knew what they were called. Billups still doesn't know what they do, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah, but I mean, some things just work, right? You don't need to know what they do, and that takes away the mystery factor.
Yeah.
It's not important what they do, being an engineer. You would think you just test it though and find out. But that's
Just plug it into random things, see what happens.
wow.
Proves the output of the warp core by like 1,000%.
Maybe it just charges their phones, space phones. It's
It's for charging. It's for charging the pads.
Yep. Yeah, wireless pad charging, Tucker tubes.
That's why there's so many there's like 2 pads and like a flip phone device there as well.
See,
The engineers just set their stuff there to charge when they're doing their work in engineering.
I mean, there must be heavy research on these because they're one of the most infamous sci-fi props of where they first came from. Because I doubt they were Star Trek. I imagine they'd be before that and then sort of taken off the lot and then because these things are when Paramount. I mean,
that's the joke. They're used in everything, right? So
yeah, because there's those great featurettes about the Christie sale, the auctions where Paramount had a giant warehouse where everything was stored. And there's a great set of featurettes for that auction where Mike and Tizukuda were brought in to go catalogue everything. Because at the time, obviously, if it costs you $5,000 for a costume, A, you might bring people back years later. B, storage is cheap when there's less going on. And then obviously time changes from the 80s, 90s, whatever. Or you could change things around and kit bash, whatever. Because rebuilding a Klingon fleet of makeup costumes would be expensive. You've got them on the rack and you can just modify, much cheaper. So they had all this stuff. Right, it was all archived or not archived. It was all kept. So props, same thing. There was warehouses where, well, we need sci-fi things. Okay, grab. I remember there was a Blackadder, very very famous English comedy. Part of why the costumes were so good is because BBC had other period programs. So they were able to utilize a lot of that stuff because they had it. And then that became a period piece from Blackadder that became saved, and they could then work out the lineage. It was made for this production in the 50s or something, kept for 20, 30 years, used, and then now it became definitive, at least some pieces. I know there's another show where they only had a giant period bit because they had all the pops. Must have been a World War One thing in England. Like, wow, the production value is amazing. Yeah, they just filmed something on the lot. They had all the props and costumes like right there. Might as well use them. Wow, production value. So these things are the same thing. It was a sci-fi prop.
Yeah, there's a sci-fi prop rental place in Hollywood where has this and like the big stand-up computers and stuff. You see them all the time. So,
because the small stuff is annoying to build.
Yeah, and that's it for mine. I just wanted some I thought you might not have included, but all the Voyager stuff, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
Yeah, these are things that stood out to me especially. Some are what you did, but I got in pictures. And these are kind of in order of shows, so you'll see my broad logic. First one I'm going to give it to is a giant, fun way to the whale probe and the tile sequence. Love the whale probe. Yes. Always have. Great recreation. It's not a spoiler. We have got whale probe fan film. More than in the works. We've shot it. Most of the CG's done. I had like 5 iterations of how to do the whale probe's tunnel effect because it's very difficult because it's a fluorescent tube that's overlit with a gradient on the ball and then in a light. It's really, it looks how it looks, But, but when you see the trailer, I finally I think I redid it 3 times before I released the trailer for the trailer. So that's how it'll look in the film. I'm very proud of how it looks. Boy, really big ship, by the way. When you start putting it next to things, you realize that to see it move in any meaningful speed, you have to have it move at like light speed, because it's really freaking big.
Yeah.
And then to have it ramp up into fast, again, it doesn't really work because it's so big. Momentum doesn't exist. Yeah, funny things when you do it like that. Although there's one shot, I'll go mild spoiler, where the ball is obviously only a small chunk of it. It's still giant, but it's a relatable scale. So I put there's a shot of Horizon next to it, and the ball is like this big, and Horizon's like this big, but it's relatable. And it's like the smallest part is like 15 Horizons, but it's like wow, but also relatable. So
yeah,
really iconic, and it isn't just a tube. It is.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think the whale probe was a nice addition.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that short, by the way.
Yeah, it's not really a short though.
Oh,
it's quite long.
Fan film.
It's quite long. Yeah, that was quite long. That was like a 5-day shoot. Yeah. It's over. Well, Fred.
Hypno Amber is back. Welcome back, Hypno Amber.
Welcome. Yes, that probably Grant. My next one is the Neelix stuff. Nice to give him some credit and the fact that it's both people in the galley that are like positive about it, and also this guy's like, ugh, the smell. Because love him or hate him, he was there to make a difference.
Yeah, and the fact that he has like his recipes, I think, available there as well.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Leola root stew is now back as a viral hit after the museum lands. That's what it's going to be.
Yes, absolutely. I love the mannequins that you can clearly tell who they are because of the hairstyles or whatever. Instead of, again, having the faces and like the action figures. So, and mission worn uniforms as well. It's important, don't you know? Yeah. Hit the like button, guys. We're at 45 likes. We're almost at that 50 like goal. And Little People Pets threw in $2 and says, I heard I was mentioned earlier. You were?
People, we're talking about People Pets, like that.
Oh, Little People Pets. Oh, okay. Somebody changed their name. Yeah, it's also your first super chat, which is awesome. So thank you for super chatting. We really appreciate it. We could use a few more if you guys want to super chat in anything you guys loved about the first 2 episodes of Lower Decks or about the very first very short trek. Let us know. We do read them all and we do comment and talk on them. So, and you guys help the channel immensely. So
put your voice forward. Yes.
But
it's good to give him some more love because Neelix did potentially save the ship. Not having to utilize replicated food was a giant power save. They were often at the whim and the problem with power, and by even if half his food was slop, if he mass produced, as in his galley, there for everybody to feed the crew.
Yeah,
like that's really important, and they kind of gloss over the concept of it after a while, but it's saving.
Yeah,
it's the equivalent of saying it's the equivalent of the crew were used to going to a restaurant every day and paying $10 a meal per person, and their bank was only so big, versus him making homemade meals and costing £1 per meal. The bank went much further. The budget did.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah. And it was his knowledge of the Delta Quadrant and all of the vegetables and fruits and all the stuff in the Delta Quadrant that made him very valuable. So yes.
Well, and also, how many of the crew knew how to cook? Without the need to cook, who could? Seriously. I mean, not including replicated beans on toast, right? I would hazard to guess only a couple. But Neelix, literally, a chef of all, ostensibly, that is a skill that no one else really has. Or you're used to it in a very specific way. For example, and again, we're getting a bit meta here with like internal logic, but of course, if you're replicating 5 tomatoes, 4 aubergines, whatever, they can be the same quality. But then if you're suddenly given fresh tomatoes and they're all various degrees of ripeness, you aren't basing the food on food. You're based on replicated baseline ingredients. Any variety will skew what you know. You put just amount of salt in normally. Oh no, now you've soured the milk. It's a different reference, but like that. Why would you know how to cook, right? And because pike is different. That's earlier, right? That's when there was a balance. I think a bit of between. But this is certainly, imagine always be well. It's as if how many of us can know how to rewire a car? It's not necessary. You have a mechanic.
Yeah.
It just isn't. A PC is a little bit different because that's far more basic and far more there. But these common knowledge things are lost in cooking. If you never have to do this, then why would you learn? And decades later, it's not the exact same allegory, but we was at my girlfriend's house the other day, and we got a phone call. They got a phone call from the aunt saying, "All right, is your printer working? I haven't got a printer." And they stop and say, "Have we got a printer?" Because who prints anymore, right? You don't need to most of the time. Especially when phones became scanners and became, you could show your boarding pass via phone. That changed the game. And so they had a printer, but it didn't work. Turns out it didn't work because there's no ink. So it's that ill-used ink dried up. Because they just don't use it, ever. So simple stuff like that, if you don't use it for long enough, or a home phone, right? Home phone's actually quite useful in a sense. If the satellite towers go down, oh dear. If you're out of charge, oh dear. Obviously, we don't keep things charged, but there's value in them that one time of 100, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Very good. Very good.
My next one was, of course, although this in particular was, the concept of the mannequins, because you in essence get the entire game represented, and all of them you could get. Although, same logic, no faces, no royalties. Didn't consider that. As you said too earlier, my favourite one overall was mission worn uniform is just it's a great reference, because then you could almost have in my fan films some giant insane meta reference of like Keeley saying, "Do you like my new uniform?" It's fine. Mission worn by Dax. It's like, oh damn!
Yeah.
It's just a standard grey first contact. But how'd you get that? Don't ask. There's a whole lineage of jokes with that. Or like there's a costume party on Horizon, and Emma walks up in a TNG and she's like, "Oh, it's a mission worn Troy uniform." How'd you get that? "Oh, I know a guy." It's like, wow, that's a costume party. That changes genuinely the game if that's a valid point.
I absolutely agree.
Excellent. My next one, this is a kind of me one, but the Easter egg of understanding the Voyager shuttle bay and knowing about the side corridor.
Yeah.
Or the side, because there's a weird L shape, and you can easily not ever know that. No shade. But it has got one. And to know that is to love it, and to love it is to know it,
Yeah. It's one of those things you're probably more familiar with than most people. I was familiar with it, just but a lot of people wouldn't necessarily know. So that was a nice touch for sure.
Just they could already just walk into the shuttle. There's no reason to do that as a shot, but it's great. And it is an Easter egg, right? It's a deep cut knowing it. Yeah, I like it.
They're really flexing their muscles with showing off Voyager for sure. Stuff you didn't see very often, but now we can show you easily in animation.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that. Next one is getting the Voyager beam right. Didn't have to. Again, is an Easter egg. I sort of consider it because none of us would have flinched if they had used a Cerritos beam. Because they could say, "Oh, the Cerritos beamed them rather than Voyager." That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
They go right and look great.
Yeah, small little things. And one thing I should have put in mind was the Akira ships that were docked, or the Akira that was docked at the station as well. You can see a silhouette of it from the front and from the side from different shots. But nice little touch.
Yeah, have we seen Akira's in Lower Decks yet?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, doesn't ring a bell.
You've seen Luna class. You've seen Parliament class.
Gosh, what a first time, what a first time thing. If you're like, in a dock. It's quite a sure.
Mhm.
Hey, kind of implies they were made in 3D, although they can obviously often do a cheat of being actually a painting, because how much this was real 3D, don't know. Hard to know because it's such a
And
good style.
the other thing we said too is because Voyager's getting ready for the museum there. That could be like one of the one of the ones we see in Picard season 3, like Thunderchild or something. That's getting ready to also go to the museum. So, yeah.
Which, if that's the official station for the museum, works for me. I dig it. But yeah, so I like the beam, small thing. Voyager's warp out being a correct stretch,
and the articulating the cells.
Just getting it right. It shouldn't win them points, but Modern Trek doesn't. Well, no, Last Generation Modern Trek, because they're improving. Bonk. It is a small thing. I kind of wish they'd had the exact same lens flare. Because use their version. It's fine, right?
Yeah.
It's having everything. But it's simple, and I didn't used to do the stretch for warp outs, or warp in, warp outs, but it does actually add an extra flair to the effect. Even if, warping in is like 9 frames, right? It's not even a second. That's how quick a warp in is. But your brain does notice something, and Voyager especially, I know we know it should be there, but there's a certain fun, because it is a long ship. It's that sort of, it works well to be stretched, basically. But I like doing it with every alien race, which is unprecedented, really. Not everyone does it. Like, I don't think in TNG, like, everyone stretched, right? We know that D did because it's an entire sequence, but that was a specific thing. But it's kind of fun then to see what does a Deredex look when it stretches. The little pulling that all that logic together is kind of fun.
Yeah, I was waiting for the flash at the end too. Which there is one, but it's not quite right. So.
Yeah, it's a twinkle.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Yeah,
it's a Lodex twinkle.
Yeah,
which is fine.
It's fine,
but not amazing. But it is fine.
Yeah.
Hit
that like button, guys, if you haven't. We're 4 likes away from 50. Hit it and go vote on the poll. Super chat in. We want to hear your thoughts.
Yes, guys.
We do read them all. We do address them all. We talk about them. So if you want to have your voice heard, please super chat in. We'd really appreciate it.
Yes. We are the people's channel.
As long as you're a Trekyardian, you can be anybody.
You can be a Wars Guardian. Is that a thing? Maybe. Don't know. No. My next Easter egg, though, is Celtica, but specifically black and white and grainy. Of course, right? Like, again, a logical thing, but you could accept if they'd changed the story and he'd start on the holodeck and walked out and become color. Also would have been
colorized version.
Yeah, that would have been like a reverse Easter egg, right? Like undoing what you think.
Yeah. But
to put that effort in is it's fun, and I wonder how they did it, because he had to be grainy and flaring, and there's an extra bit of effort, and those things aren't just easy.
And just as a bonus thing, I really like how he called it his laser Luger, because Luger's a real gun, and just of course the 1950s sci-fi version would be the laser Luger. I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Again, simple, really simple, but appreciated. I wonder if did he have a gun in the first Captain Proton? He did, yeah, because the henchman had one, and then he at some point grabbed it off him. I remember that. It had like a reverse handle. It was weird, a handguard thing that was weird, because it's weird. And then Proton has.
I don't remember that specifically, so.
I think the first time he appears, it's more serious. But I think it's one of his later appearances where it went a bit wonky, like everything's going wrong. Therefore, we're doing less focused Celtica. Therefore, they went more silly with it. If my memory for Celtica serves. Well, imagine doing a Trek shots in black and white. Wouldn't that be surreal?
Yes.
Although the Captain Proton rocket ship would be a very quick 3D model, I think.
Yeah. Can you get the smoke to go up?
Oh, did it?
Yeah, well, Most 50s shows did. It looked like it was on a string, and the smoke just went straight up.
I love it. That makes sense. My
Yeah.
next one though is of course salamanders. Warp 10 salamanders. You know.
hmm
Yeah.
And I'm still going to stand by what I said all along. Threshold is not as bad an episode as everybody says it is. It's not the worst episode of Voyager at all.
No.
The first 2/3 of that episode are really fantastically well done. The ending lets it down a bit because it's very rushed and very kind of silly. So
yeah, it's pretty good. And then it's not pretty good for a bit.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, right? It's a let's curveball everybody. I would love to speak to the writer and see what was the logic, because I guess in theory it's a very odd Star Trek premise. But when you film it and watch it, it's like, huh, this got made. Huh.
Yeah.
Something about it kind of like reverse clicks. It's like, huh. And changes the precedent of the universe. And certainly be nice if at some point they address the whole weekend. Of course we can go warp 10. What about the salamanders? You've got a cure for that, guy. Oh.
Yeah.
Right? It's that easy. Unless of course you argue every warp 10 flight is a new species or something, which is not obviously what we saw, but it's just it's one of those silly, ludicrous things that is a joke in the community. As is kind of 2Vix is a negative joke, right? That's That's a little stab if you want to be a Trek fan that makes little points. Like, oh, 2Vix. In 2Vix episode, here is a salamander, right? Literally taking the captain's seat in part of the episode. A Borgified salamander. Oh, God. Like, it's silly, right?
That's great, man.
But it's great, yeah. So just their inclusion was fun. I love the simple animatronics. That's still a thing. It's just it's real good. My next one, though, episode 2. Oh, I know episode 1. We have Naked Towel Klingon Guy. So Lower Decks Easter egg inside Lower Decks, which I appreciate.
From Deja Rouge, that episode. I think it's the same ship because you see the towel guy in that one.
Oh, I hope not. I don't think it is. Otherwise they all die.
I think it is. I think they're the same characters that are talking. I don't think. We're not sure if they die yet. They could have been beamed off or transported off in some way as well.
That is true. I don't think they're the same people, but it's definitely the same sets. I feel like I didn't recognize the voices at all.
Yeah.
Although, were they in that one as much as the? Were they in it at least?
They were in it.
I thought
they were in it enough.
Yeah,
they were in it enough. I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but I'm pretty sure those are supposed to be the same characters.
But yeah, towel guy, Klingon towel guy.
Every species needs a towel guy.
Hey, sure, why not? Dear me.
Fair.
Is that the same? Oh, my next one, of course, is Andy Probert's Romulan ship. I'm going to call it an Easter egg because it's literally a one-shot thing, and you can.
Which a lot of people might not be aware of.
Yes.
They might think, well, that's a new design, or that's they got that wrong.
Or get it wrong.
But it actually, we have a video coming out where we show the concept, and it's actually made an appearance in a Ships of the Line calendar as well. So it is kind of canonized a little bit, I guess. Now for sure. Solidified.
Is licensed. It would be fun to.
Yes.
I mean, it would love. Well, I could do it, right? It would be fun to get that commissioned and see it in 3D and how it would flow. And I know we obviously slight spoilers for our episode on it, but we debated the 3 different sizes, how they feel, the 3 sketches, and we said that'd be fun to see as a fleet.
But you guys haven't seen that video yet, but it's good.
No.
We talked about the size of this thing, and it's a really fun episode. So
yeah,
it'll be coming out soon.
Yeah. Well, if no ships in episode 3, then hey, even sooner. No, it's really, really good to see. We knew it was coming from the trailer, which is a bit disappointing, I believe, or a clip. I don't think it was a surprise. But it was good to see, and it felt like it was given a bit of love, even though it was killed. It still had a vibe that was good. And hey, now it's in their bank of assets, because that definitely was 3D, because I went past it, right? That was definitely. And in fairness, we might get in the later part of the season with this mysterious enemy, we might get the coalition of the Alpha Quadrant coming together saying, we must defeat this baddie, and then here comes 3 Romulan ships and 3 Colonial ships and 3 Starfleet ships, and that could be a really fun moment.
Well, Ozzy says, does it have a cloaking device? Well, yes, it does, because the sub commander says initiate cloak, but they don't get a chance to do it because the shields start going down.
Yeah.
So
I feel like I'd be shocked if any Romulan ships didn't have a cloak.
Even the shuttle did. So, yeah, exactly.
I mean, that was a specific ambassador one. It would be top tier. But why wouldn't you, right? They've been around for how many dozen years?
It's kind of their thing.
Yeah, but also, I think, well, the way they implied in the episode, they like being sneaky. So just being sneaky in their own territory. It's like, you can't see me, Sub-Commander Black. I'm behind you. What? Ah! You meant to be in a shuttle, not a Vraldrek class. You know.
Sneaky.
You can be sneaky.
Does it have a Romulan towel guy? Probably, Ozzy. I didn't see him.
That's a Romulan towel guy.
Maybe it was the guy cleaning up the Riemann mess. He was using his towel that he usually has around his waist to clean off the thing. He was like, who knows?
Yeah? Yeah? Yeah, they should have clicking devices. But yeah, really good to see. Made me smile on the inside. Next, I agree with you. It was the boxes of stuff. I specifically was going to call out the dog picture in this because, and I avoided saying it in your piece, but I love the fact that we are so many seasons in that we now have internal continuity to pull from. It's now its own reference, but as a 1 episode thing.
Gosh, Kendy's dog.
Season 1? Yeah, it was a Salamander one. Yeah, season 1. So, still a soft spot for the dog she made years ago at this point. And the, yes, you're right, the Klingon makeup stuff from his exploits. I think, did they do the Klingon stuff twice?
Don't know.
No. And they all have models, Stargazer and Cerritos. Yeah, it's nice, I think, because it reminds me of when Mariner walked through the corridor with the contraband that she had. It was random stuff, right? This is now truly personal. He's got stuff. We've got character beats. It's meaningful.
And it's not unheard of. How many times in TNG did you see like a Galileo shuttle behind somebody, or an Enterprise with the nacelles turned, or Captain Picard's ready room? He's got the Stargazer model.
Hey,
it's a thing that people have, and they, ships they want to serve on, or that they have served on. Sure.
Yeah, it sounds very fan-y in this context, but you're right, straight from, what is the ready room or the brief room of the Enterprise D if not a collection of gold ships?
That's also true.
That seems more official, obviously. That's a place. But yeah, Stargazer, of course. The other example I would compare to, which feels more like this, like an off-the-shelf model, because Stargazer felt like he'd done that as a special piece, right? As something special. Cisco has a Daedalus in his office.
Yeah.
It's never highlighted. Like, it's just there. It's set dressing. But someone thought he would care enough to have a model of a Daedalus, which hasn't got a specific link to him that we know of, right? So that feels like a fan of a thing as a thing, right?
Yeah. Yep. Plus, much older design ship, and it's maybe a historical thing that he really appreciated or something.
Maybe his granddad served on one?
Maybe, something like that, yeah.
Cisco. That'd be kind of sweet. And we've actually seen that model as well, in person. The real Daedalus.
Yes, we have.
So that was fun.
So you need to do a short trek now of
a
Cisco serving on a Daedalus.
Wait, you're saying they need to do? Wait, you say they or me?
No, you.
Yeah, trek shorts, not short treks.
That's really confusing.
I know. Well, they stopped doing them. They just started reading them last week.
Anyway, you need to do one of a Cisco serving on a Daedalus class ship back in the day. I think that'd be awesome.
Back in the day. Yeah, I mean, that'd be... Or just reference it as a... Is Commander Cisco on the Daedalus? Yes. Okay. The famous other Cisco. Yeah. Almost out of ones here. Yeah, I joined you on the not Q alien. We both agreed there would be way more aliens that we knew In the menagerie, there really wasn't, which, in fairness, they probably said, hey, we have these 12, 20 sketches from other Lower Decks episodes. We've already made the models. We can just put them in. That makes sense. But it was oddly lacking.
Yeah, they could have had a Vulcan Salat. They could have had, there's a lot of dangerous animals we've seen over the years that I figured Lower Decks would include in their menagerie, and they just weren't there, sadly. So it's kind of disappointed with the menagerie, honestly. But hey, that's fine.
But not just that. They could have had other oops, we grabbed them aliens. We could have had a Dr. Flock's alien, and he was always puffed up. Or there are other weird-looking aliens, like a Linus or something. You could have kept going for the silly, but there's plenty of... Or a Zindi would have been cool, like a Zindi insectoid.
They're sentient.
No, I know they are, but that would have been the fun, right? That would have been 3 doors down from the humans, and they'd go click, 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 and then say, "Hey, you got Zindi as well." A what? Insectoid species. Oh, is that a... Yeah! Like, my good friend Reginald on Deep Space 4. Like, we play cards every time I go there. Oh, sorry. Let's be... Like, they could have made... Yeah, like, taking to the extreme race that we know, and to show the contrast of, sentient weird alien, human weird alien, they don't see them as being different, but, like, there are many that are that. Or, like, a Shellyak. Oh, can you imagine a Shellyak being in there?
Yes. There's so many things. I was really thinking they were going to have a Vulcan Lamacha or something in there. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just obvious. Or green cat with, like, diamond marks on it. Yeah, like...
Yeah. Or you... don't know why I went to this. You could have had the diamond dogs from Last Jedi. Don't know why I thought of that, but...
Oh, yeah.
Because they were quite distinct. Dear mate. A couple left, guys. Of course, Tucker Tubes. I mean, Lower Decks making the canon. They're allowed to. It works for me. And I like the fact that, that old school... Because they're an old school looking tech, right? Clearly they're not iterated on since Tucker designed them. So, good job. I like it. Action figures, of course. Yep, that deserves big points because, just very cool.
Was it Charles Tucker that designed those, I think?
Maybe the first, second, or third. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, I guess there was some anonymity there. And obviously, mirror art is confusing. Because where?
Yes.
There's obviously reasons we talked about in our review, but a bold choice. Bold choice.
Yes. Very bold choice.
And having a TOS phaser. Yeah, which, look, there's more TOS cannons, Stuart.
Yeah.
Just saying. It's not a Stranger Worlds phaser, as you can tell. There's this. There's the data one as well. Kind of headline. And then my last of all, right at the end of episode 2, was that Rutherford is working on the exact same tractor beam project as Wesley was. Like episode 4. I mean,
Wesley lifted a chair with his.
Oh, sorry?
Wesley lifted a chair with his.
Yeah. Almost killed the ship. Or saved the ship. Or killed the ship. But that is a genuine Easter egg. Because there's no reason for that to be that. And, 60% of people won't know what it is? I feel like some will.
Easily, yeah.
But it's not exactly it is memorable, but also it's just like a board with some stuff in it, right? But I recognised it. So that is a real Easter egg, I think. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my top picks of the whole of the season so far. I think that is a strong showing of Easter eggs. I think they have hit nails on said head, I would say.
Yeah, I did expect more, though. Especially from the menagerie. When they say they were going to a menagerie, I was like, okay, cool, we're going to see some cool shit. And again, that kind of let me down a little bit. Got the SETI eel and things like that. But it's like... Lower Decks is just cramming stuff in. Like that museum episode, they had quite a few, and that store they were on the promenade of that one station was also crammed full of stuff.
Crammed, yeah.
So, they're a little light so far, but we'll see what the rest of the season has in store.
Lippler says, can you imagine the terms of service if they get a Shellyak in there? Yes, that is true. That'd be a clerical nightmare. Huh?
Leopardon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a dinosaur. So yeah, I mean, I'm assuming we're gonna get a crammed episode later, but I'm absolutely fine with more Easter eggs spaced out organically than hey look, it's a store with 45. You know what I mean? Like that's brute force. It's great, but it's not smart. This I thought they've done some really nice ones included. So yeah, good job to them.
Well, here we go, guys. That brings us to the end. We talked about two things during this live. The first episode of Very Short Treks, Skin a Cat, and then Easter eggs in the first two episodes of Lower Decks Season 4. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. A lot of you were watching it the whole time. Not a lot of interaction, though, which we want to... That's what we like to do. We like to hear what you guys have to say and kind of bounce off what you guys are talking about. So... But anyway, that's fine.
I think everyone's on the toilet. They want to touch the phone.
Maybe. That's a nice way to leave off. Anyway,
well,
join me tonight.
The poll. Fascinating. Only 48 votes, but that's still better than the previous one. Which show does Easter eggs better?
I got a 0%.
One of our more stonking wins in recent memory. 85%. Lower Decks, Prodigy at 10%, Strange Worlds at 4%, and Discovery at shut the hell up %.
Many in the poll before somebody votes on Discovery.
Yeah.
0%. We still have not got 100% poll yet.
No. And Discovery had a few good Easter eggs. They were often, though, despite of themselves.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll call it there. Like I said, if you guys want an Ahsoka first reaction, join me tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Of course, tomorrow at 10 p.m. will be my first reaction to the next episode of Lower Decks, which also comes out tonight.
Yes.
And on Friday, of course. Yeah. And then Friday, of course, join us for our complete breakdown and review at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're always here. We're always doing things.
Yeah. We've been here pre-pandemic, during pandemic, post-pandemic, and here we are. Support your local Trekyards. Do you think that when Ahsoka's finished, which I guess isn't too far along, it's worth doing a season review? Is it that good a show?
Oh, absolutely! This last episode was off the hook.
Yeah,
you're gonna absolutely love it.
Yeah, I couldn't help but skim it briefly just to see what Anakin looked like. And I skimmed through some potentially fun things. I mean, I really skimmed. Like I didn't.
He looked fantastic. They did an amazing job on the DA.
A lot of people complaining.
I didn't want to mention it. And by the way, spoilers. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't.
For every internet site, right? If you haven't seen, that's on you. Well, it's not on you. I'm sorry, but it's been everywhere. The internet's not cared, right?
Yeah.
I saw it. 0
fucks have been given.
Yeah, I saw it last episode. As soon as it was fine. I knew it was going to be. You couldn't do a show without him, right? As you should. Obviously, you put him in. I just don't know how much. I still obviously don't know. A lot of people complaining about the de-aging, but I do a lot of de-aging, so I appreciate the de-aging because I haven't seen it full screen yet. I've
in episode 4 at the end, yeah, I can see why they complain. But for episode 5, there's no reason to. None.
Good. Maybe it's in episode 6 or 7. How many episodes? 6. I don't know. Okay, because I really look forward to do that. And it'll be fun because then you'll have had the week-on-week experience. I'll have the binge experience, more like a movie. So that'll be fun to see, the difference. I tend to do the normal way, but I don't have time. I have, but I've been doing a short one. You know, Stuart, you know.
I know.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See Stuart later. See me later for things and bobs. Yeah, that sounds like fun. To Ahsoka retrospective.
So, until next time, he is Commander Cockney.
He is Captain Foley.